guys, welcome back to my channel, Daring Motors. I am Darren, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over an inspection of this car right here. This is a Toyota Camry, and my sister-in-law just purchased this, so I'm just going to go a full inspection of it from front to back, check all the fluids, make sure everything's in good shape, just to make sure everything's alright with it. So I'm going to go over some important things that you should look at if you're buying a used car, or if you are looking at checking your own car out just to make sure that everything's okay. So stay tuned and we'll get going on this video. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this car lifted up and get the wheels off so we can check everything out. So let's do that right now. Alright, tires are off, so now let's get under the car and check out what's going on. Alright, so this is the first time I'm checking out this car. I haven't looked at it before I got on film, so let's go ahead and look at this together. So, alright, here's the engine bay. From my perspective, if this is a brand new car, this is way too clean. It normally throws me off because if they clean all this, it's something they're hiding. And then the first thing I like to do is look for new parts. So the first thing that stuck out to me is this right here. It's a motor mount, and it is super shiny and brand new. And if this car has 160,000 miles or whatever it has, there's no way it's going to look like this. So that's definitely been replaced. This ABS unit looks very new as well. So that's another thing that I've noticed. Everything looks like it's been wiped down with like oil or something. I don't know what that is, but it's everywhere. It's kind of gross. But let's just take a look at this filter here. So I'm going to grab probably a 10 mil, and that's actually missing the fastener on this side. You can see that right there. So I'm going to get that loosened up. We'll check the air filter. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and look around at the suspension parts. Alright, so down here doesn't look too bad. These look fairly, the shocks look decent. Brake pads don't look too bad. Let's take a look, see if the brake pads you can see in there. They're not too bad. The rotors don't look too awful. Check the tie rod for some play. There's nothing there. Check the sway bar, nothing there. When I put the tire back on, I'll check for play in the wheel bearing and stuff, but let's head to the rear. Check that out on the driver's side. So initially, right off the bat, let me take off this parking brake. Okay. Now the parking brake's off. Now I can check this out. Doesn't look too bad. There is kind of a sound, but that's just because the pads are applied. So my camera shut off on me, but something I noticed is these right here. You don't want to see rips, and I'll check those for play in a little bit. Motor mount here looks not new like the top part, which is a good thing. Let's see what else we see. Now let's check the other side. Lower control arm to see if we see that same thing. Yep, and that's got some tears in it right there. So we'll check that out. But overall, it doesn't look too bad underneath here. But now we're just going to go and check some fluids. Alright, so now we're in the engine bay. I'm just going to check all the kind of fluids in here. Power steering fluid is at max hot, so it's cool. This car isn't driven. I can put my hand on the exhaust. So that's kind of overfilled. And then if we look at our coolant reservoir, there's nothing in there. Let's see if we can open it up and take a look. Let's see. Yeah, there's barely something in there. It's got a little bit. Let's see if I can get that. It's got a little bit in there, so that's good. It still has some. I like to have mine at the full line, just because it's summer. And then let's check the engine oil. Let's get to that. I'm going to set this down and we can check all those fluids. Alright, when I check for fluids, I like to use a white paper towel just so I can see the color. So let's pull this oil dipstick out. Clean it off. Alright, so just checking the oil. See if I can get a good angle on this. So it's kind of overfilled. You can see it's filled right here. It's supposed to be between these two lines, so I don't know who did this last, but they definitely overfilled it. So it's not too bad over, so it should be okay. But if you see anything that's kind of coming up way up here on your dipstick, then you should probably just change your oil just to make sure. Let's see if we can find transmission fluid dipstick. Oh, they have one. The transmission fluid dipstick goes right here. Let's see if I can get zoomed in on that angle. Yeah, there it is right here. So let's pull this out. There's a little tab, and you pull it back, pull it up. That is black. That just came off the dipstick, and that is black. It's not a good sign, but normally it tells you how to check. So we got a hot line and a cold line. So let's put this back in and check our level. So it's at the hot full line. And this engine isn't very hot. It's been sitting for about 2 hours. But this is supposed to be red. And that is brown and dark. So that's not a very good sign, but we'll keep checking it out and see what else we find. Hey, it actually is fun. Alright, so I took the cover off of the engine bay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull in the spark plug, just kind of check it out, see what kind of condition it's in, because if it's kind of old and damaged, I know it's never been changed. So I just loosen this up, 10mm, and now I'm just going to pop this tab off and see if it'll just come out by itself. Alright, so that's out. I'm going to grab my spark plug socket and get in here and loosen it up. Doesn't scare me. If they're kind of stuck in there, you know they've been in there for a long time. So let's pull it out and let's see what we're working with here. So there's definitely some corrosion on it. Let's see if I can get a good shot here. There's just some corrosion. There's starting to be some carbon buildup on it, but they do look like they could use some replacing. Let's see what they are. They're NGKs. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I think Toyotas come with NGKs, but we'll double check that. But overall, they're not horrible. They do have a little bit of corrosion on there, you can see, but it's just, we'd probably swap these out with all of its buildup on here. So let's put that back. When you put these back in, you just kind of snug them up. You don't have to super tighten them unless there's a torque spec, but that's good enough. So now we check that out. Alright guys, so I just finished checking out everything on this car, underneath this car, the suspension, and everything like that. And I pulled out the air filters, and I'll show you those in a little bit. But overall, after checking everything, the only thing that I would suggest doing, since you just bought the car, is 1, I'd change the oil. 2, I'm going to change out the spark plugs because those are pretty worn and they need to be replaced. And I feel like it would help the car run a little smoother. 3, I'm going to change the filters, because let's show you those now. These are the filters, all full of stuff and dirt, and this as well. As you can see, there's even a little fly in there. So we're going to change those out, help the car breathe a little better. And the only other thing that I was talking about is the transmission oil was black, so it's starting to burn, so there could be worries and concerns about the transmission going out, but honestly it's nothing that I feel like would happen. But she does say when she drives it does kind of is jerky, so that could be a problem. And I also noticed that this ABS controller has been replaced. I don't know why, but it's new, but I guess it's not that big of a deal if it's working just great. But other than that, the only other thing is you could replace the lower control arms at some point, because those are worn. But overall, this car is not a bad car. These Camrys are pretty resilient cars. It's pretty hard to kill them. So we'll get the spark plugs changed, both those filters changed, the oil changed, and we'll be good to go on running this thing for a while. So thanks for checking out my video. If you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to see me do, go ahead and leave a comment down below. But thanks for coming to watch Daring Motors, and if you liked and enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to produce these videos weekly, so if you enjoy these kind of things, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, guys.